Hello guys, welcome to Monkey's Paperpalooza Craft Corner. Today we are going to be reviewing the My Monthly Hero kit for April 2018, where I will open the kit and show what the contents are, as well as make 5 cards today. But stay tuned for part 2 where we will do 5 more cards and a bonus card. I'm going to start by unboxing the kit with these inks. You get 3 cubes. You get a Fiesta Red, a Fiesta Teal, and a Fiesta Yellow. But what's fun about this is it's not just plain ink, it is water reactive ink. We also get this, I think it's called Anruyu or whatever it's called. But it's a nice textured paper, very similar to what they use to make piñatas. And it's got these beautiful vines, and it's a long sheet that's folded in half, so it's actually a good size sheets. I love this purple. It's got little specks of red in it. And look at this beautiful blue color too. So you get those 3 colors. And as you see, I've already opened up these stamps and been stamping with them. As you can see, all the ink on them. But it's a beautiful little kit. It has a fiesta design with birthdays and Spanish theme, cacti. It also comes with these wonderful dies as well as the wonderful backing paper that they always add with their kits. I love the first side with their little ethnic print on it. But look at these dies. The wonderful thing is you get this gorgeous frame die as well as a bunch of little coordinating dies for the little characters and things inside it. And as you can see, we've got the mice here. Like here's the little snake and the mouse, the piñata, as well as the instruments and the cacti, the cake. I don't see one, of course, for certain ones. Like I noticed we don't have one for the little pots that come with the cactuses, nor do I see one, let me see, for the maraca. I think the maraca didn't have one also, as well as that pennant, which I was a little surprised with the pennant because you would want to cut those out. But the maraca I was surprised too since we have one for the guitar. But look, you even have one for the chili pepper. Isn't that funny? But of course they can't make dies for everything or this kit would be exploding. Alright, so last couple of times people have asked me, how do you separate your metal dies? Okay, these are them. They're tin snips. Aviation tin snips. Real simple and easy. You just snip and go. And underneath, I usually have my magnetic dish. I'll put a link down below for the tin snips as well as the magnetic dish. Sadly, the magnetic dish I have is years and years old, so they don't make it anymore. But I have found one that's similar, and like I said, I will list that down below. But it's a good idea to have a magnetic bowl or tray underneath as you're snipping because those little tin pieces are really sharp. And it actually collects it for you so that way you don't end up having little shards of metal everywhere in your craft room. I've learned from trial and error that hurts when you get one on your finger. So definitely have one of those on hand as you cut too. It does make it clean up easier as well as safety wise. But as you see, I'm going to snip as much as I can off each of these little dies, trying to leave it as clean cut as I can, and just see how they just cut through it like butter. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get in the angles, but depending on how angled the die is, but as close as you can. That way you don't have any sharp edges. These are a great tool to have in your craft room, especially if you work with a lot of dies or kits with coordinating dies. They usually always come combined in a sheet. I very rarely found them already separated. They usually need to be separated. I remember when I first bought these, my husband's like, I have some in the garage. Why don't you just use mine? I was like, I want some in my craft room. That way I don't have to go searching through your stuff every time I get a new die set. But see how quick and easy this is. And it's a great tool. It's a heavy duty tool to have in a craft room, but it's a great tool, especially that magnetic cup too. See how everything's collecting in it? It's fantastic. And there we go. We're going to do this. I'm going to cut these and I'm just going to show you. See how those shards are not moving? There's that. So I'm going to go now, skip the rest of that. Nobody wants to see me cut all the dies out. But I want to show you, I had stamped a bunch of these and colored these with my Arteza markers. I have cut out most with the dies, but I did have to fussy cut, of course, the maracas and the flower pots and pennants because they did not have a coordinating die. And there they are, the Arteza markers. That's what I colored them with. And I didn't water down my coloring. I just colored ink on ink. And I got a beautiful effect with it. I love how they blended together. And this is just colored with the detail, mixing the colors. And it's on regular cardstock. I didn't use watercolor cardstock because I knew that I was not going to be using water. But I love how the color shading went. Look at these cactuses. They almost just blend beautifully. I'm really loving these markers. They're very fun. But I love this little bird too. Isn't he cute? Alright, so let's get into the card panels for these reactive inks. I wanted to make these ahead of time so that I didn't have to do this. Sorry for the shaky video as I'm doing this. These inks, I have to say, are very similar to, I would think, the Distress Oxides. They almost feel like an ink slash pigment dye. They're soft, they blend very smoothly. I was actually very surprised. I was like, I wonder how they're going to work. I mean, I love the regular dyes that they send in the kits usually. They are, in fact, very nice blending anyway. I'm going to say, but these had a nicer, almost chalky feel to them. So they're very similar to, I think, the oxides. And they're water reactive. So they will get water spots and stuff on where you add water. So I'm going to put that in there. On my paper, they seem to be getting darker, which is kind of cool too. I don't know if it's the watercolor paper I'm using because I have seen other people use it on cardstock and they actually got white spots. So I guess it depends on what paper you're using. It's probably the paper I'm using on this one. Now for this next one, I kind of did like a sunset theme for that one. This one, I'm going to be using all three colors. But look at that, it's very pigmenty. I feel like they're almost like the oxides. And they're blending like butter like oxides do. That's one thing I do like about Distress Oxides is they blend nicely. I feel like they blend better than the regular Distress inks. And you get this really thick, chalky effect, which is very nice. Alright, and now here I am with this teal. This teal is very beautiful and bright. It's not as soft as the other ones. It's very vibrant. So I'm going to go from the bottom going into the red so that way it doesn't get really intense on the top but blend in. I wanted to show you in these panels what these inks could be used like as a backdrop. I have seen people actually even watercoloring with them, which are really nice too. If you have a chance, I do have a playlist where I have, and I do this every month, I just want to let you guys know, I have playlists that have card kits made by other creators. So visit my playlists. If you like my ideas, but you need some more on how to use these kits, I always share their videos too. That way you can get more than one take on what to do with this kit. Alright, so that was that panel. Now this panel, I'm going to go willy-nilly because this one I'm going to actually be using with the frame die. So I'm not really going to be too concerned about how blended it is. It's going to go crazy. I want to be as funky as I can get it. Like the other ones I was doing straight little ombre effects. This one I'm just going wild with it. And like I said, I'm not too concerned because you're not going to see how smooth the color is in that die because once it's cut out, it's going to look quite different. So like you see, I have some heavy-handed spots there. No biggie. I'm leaving it. In fact, I'm going to do the same kind of heavy-handed sponging with this green, this turquoise or teal green or blue. I don't know if you consider teal a blue or a green. I consider it a mix of both. See how it's kind of being fun like that? There we go. All right. So there's that. See how that looks kind of almost like galaxy looking? My Ranger ink spritzer. This is my Ranger one. It's by Ink Essentials. I love their mister. But I'm also going to take out the little hose and just splat because I want some thick, big spots on it as well as the misting. There we go. And I'm just going to dab it and get some of that water off it and then let this sit for the rest of the time. So I'm going to clean off my glass mat. I'm also putting a link to this glass mat just in case people are wondering where I got it. All right, so here is the die cut for the frame, and I'm going to use my Spellbinders Tool in 1. I love this tool for intricate die cuts because you can poke the dies as well as poke out the little cutouts. And it does make poking out smaller areas a lot easier. And sometimes you'll get a spot that's a little weird, like this one. I can actually poke that needle right in there and loosen it up. It's a great tool. You can get many attachments for it too. This also has the brush attachment, and this is fantastic for these intricate dies. Also, because you can go from the back of your die and push out any excess paper that got stuck in it. So a great way to clean out your die. So that way you don't have little pieces of paper stuck in it all the time. Because sitting there poking it with a needle takes forever. So I do love this tool in 1 for that purpose. And it does help poke out these little spots a lot faster. And if you ever get a die stuck on a piece of paper also, I've had that happen, you can't pull it up. This is great. You can go through those little holes in the back of your die and you can use it to poke the paper out gently. It also comes with a little spatula for lifting too, which all the attachments can be actually held inside the tool. It kind of separates and you can hold all your attachments in it, which is great. All right, now I'm going to keep on poking out this. I'm not going to show you poking out the entire die because it could take forever. And I don't want this video to be going on forever, but look for those hard ones. See how easy it was for me to poke that out. All right, so now for adhering it. I'm going to use my Ranger Multimedia Matte. Like I said before, sometimes using a self-adhesive double-sided adhesive sheet works better. I find I'm having a hard time right now getting the Ranger to work for me, coming out of this little precision tip, but I'm going to keep on trying till I get it out because you don't want a thick layer. Also, I'm also going to be getting one of those wonderful glue pens, and I'm going to try that too with some of these intricate dies. Some people have also suggested the Xyron sticker maker. Too is a great way to get adhesive on the side of your die cuts. I don't know how it would fit with this die being that it's such a big frame, but I'm sure if you got probably the 5-inch, you probably could fit it through there. So I'm just going to stick this on as much as I can, do some touch-ups. That's one bad thing sometimes when you do little dots of glue. Sometimes it doesn't stick well or it dries before you get it on there. All right, so I got most of it on there to the point where I think it will adhere pretty well. So I'm just going to do a couple more touch-ups here underneath some of the leaves that lifted a little bit. And I'm going to slide this underneath my Cuttlebug plates just so that it holds it down while the glue dries. Oops, and let me get that out of my way so I can get this stamp perfect in the frame. For my sentiment inside the card, I'm using a craft cardstock card form. I chose the Let's Party, and I'm using that Bombay blue, or no, Bahama blue in the Memento ink. I'm also going to prep a piece of black cardstock with my anti-static tool, and I am going to stamp with my embossing ink Feliz Cumpleaños, which of course is happy birthday in Spanish. I love this kit because it was very bilingual. It had the regular birthday sentiments as well as a lot of wonderful Spanish sentiments as well. And I went through there and I intermixed a lot of them. Like I would put some in different Spanish ones in the front and then put some English variations in the side. But it's very nice. I was very impressed with this kit this month because of that. And as you see, I'm not using foam. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. This one I decided just to adhere right to the card form because I felt there was enough dimension to it already, and I'm going to add dimension behind the sentiment in the front and I believe the birthday cake. So I didn't want to add too much dimension that it was too thick, so I decided to just leave it alone. But I did really enjoy the bright colors on the craft cardstock. I've seen a lot made with white and black, but I figured let's bring some craft into this also. So here I am. I'm just going to cut some of these Scotch adhesive foam back squares onto my die cuts as well as in my die cut out sentiment, or actually cut out sentiment. And I am going to adhere them both to this card. I really did like how the white stood out really brightly on that black. And now I'm going to add some of our embossed circle sequins. These are still available on the store, so check them out. I felt that they really went well with the Spanish theme as well as the colors in this kit. So I will be pulling these out quite often. And I'm going to put these in the center of the big flowers. I didn't want to go too crazy and put in all the flowers. And my ranger's getting a little empty. It's time to refill. So you will notice I bring out my backup glue later on in this video because my bottle is starting to get low, and it does take a lot of time for me to fill that bottle, and I didn't want to take the time to fill it while I was recording these videos. All right, on to my next card. All right, so for this one, I decided to start with the sentiment inside. So I'm going to ombre ink the many thanks sentiment that came with this kit. And I'm doing that with my Memento inks. I got the Bahama blue as well as I believe it was the rosebud pink. And as you see, one of those panels, I did in fact die cut it onto that same frame die cut. And I am going to glue this with my Scotch 2-way liquid adhesive. That is my second go-to glue at this point. It's my backup. I don't use it quite often because I feel sometimes if your glue comes out, it actually leaves a little shine, and I don't like using it for a lot of things because of that. I love the matteness of the Ranger Multi-Medium. If Scotch made it in a matte glue, I probably would get it, but for a backup glue, it works out really good. It's really strong too, which was the other plus. And usually there's a sponge applicator on the bottom, and mine's a little clogged right now, so I ended up using the tip. All right, so now I am stamping in black tuxedo ink the banner, as well as doing the ombre effect, also on the Muchas Gracias. That was also in the kit. So I'm doing that in the dandelion, the rosebud pink, and the Bahama blue. And I'm pushing that down. Okay, so now that I got all that stuff out of our way and we got that die cut out, we're going to start assembling this card. So I wanted to add some of the little flourishes that came in the kit underneath the banner, just to give it a little bit more detail. So to line up my stamps on the Stamp Perfect, I am going to put the banner on the card front so that way I can line it up just where I want it. And I say, wait, before I do it, let me get the other flourish on. Alright, so I'm going to do the same kind of ombre effect with the pink and the blue again. I didn't use the yellow because I didn't feel like it would show on the craft card stock. So, thus I minus that. I did love the effect that I got with that frame, doing it in the multicolor. You don't have to be trapped in just doing it in single colors. It does come out really beautifully with that kind of ombre effect. Also, all right, and there are those little filigrees. So let me get this Stamp Perfect out of our way. And now I'm going to do some more Scotch adhesive squares on the back of the banner just to give the banner a little bit of dimension. And let me peel off the back of those. My husband keeps on saying, you should buy stock in Scotch. You use their products so much, and I do. I really do like their products, especially their adhesive tapes and squares. It just mounts so well, and they come in so many different price points. And here comes those wonderful embossed sequins again. Like I said, we're going to use them quite often. But I'm also going to pull out some new favorites also as we go through this video and as we go through the next video also. So stay tuned. Like I said, my Ranger is getting really low. I will definitely have to refill it before we go to the next video. And there we go. Look at that. Isn't that cute? It's very pretty. Alright, for this next card, I decided to go very simple and very clean. So I have colored these little cactuses in these little pots. I am going to layer them on top of it, but I am going to fussy cut the little bit of the white on the bottom so they look like they're sticking out of the pot. So I'm going to do that with all three of those by the magic of film editing that happened really fast. Alright, so I also got some really fun patterned green cardstock for my card form. So two of the cactuses I'm going to adhere straight onto the card. And then these I'm going to raise up and put them in front. So I'm going to layer these with some of my Scotch adhesive tape. But first, let me get this foam back. And yes, here comes the craft foam. The first two cards, you didn't have any craft foam, but this one I'm doing it. Because this card is going to be so simple. And I was going to put a sentiment in this card, and I decided, no, let's just leave it blank. Let's leave it as a little note card. Sometimes putting sentiments in everything is not necessary. And for this one, I didn't feel like it was necessary. Alright, so here I am. I'm going to get my Scotch adhesive squares onto these little cactuses for the front. And I'm going to try to breeze through this. I've been trying to cut these videos down a little bit on some of the prep stuff because I know you guys want to look at the cards and see how they're made versus watching me peel the sticker backers off the back of this. So for the sake of that, let's speed it up. We all know what time it takes to put foam adhesive on the back and peel off the sticker tape. All right, so I got those on there. So I am going to end up using the Looking Sharp sentiment, and I want to heat emboss it on black cardstock with my Snow Recollections inks. And I was trying to do a funky shape with it, and I decided let's keep it simple. Let's do a little sharp looking banner with a little sharp corner, thus the word looking sharp. And I'm going to do the same thing, put some of the adhesive foam squares on the back. Oops, there goes a little piece flying everywhere. And I'm going to pop that up like that. And I'm going to keep this really simple and clean because sometimes you just need a clean, simple note card. All right, for this next card, we're going to have a little fun. I love this paper. I've heard it called Unipo or whatever. Some people call it wisteria paper. It's really fun. It's very similar to what they use in piñatas. I will try to put the word in here as we go in the video so that you guys can see what it's called via Hero Arts. Alright, so I'm going to layer these in different colors. And these I'm doing in like little 2-inch strips. Alright, so now I'm coming in with the purple of it. And as you see here, you're kind of seeing what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be layering these strips on top of each other. Almost like what they do when they make a piñata. And I'm going to do this all over this panel. I see a lot of people do like little pieces of it, and I decided, you know what, I want to do the whole entire card. We got plenty of this paper to cover a panel and have some left over. So let's have some fun with it. Let's make this a fiesta card. So I'm going to lay these layers. All right, so as you see, I've already got some cuts, so now I can do it because I was doing these in twos. That way I could cut them faster. And here we go, we're going over the top of that. Now with the purple, and I'm not worrying if it's too messy up. I'm going to end up putting something in the front of this card, so it's going to cover up any lifted up little spots. Though most piñatas, it's all lifted up and fuzzy and bent a little bit anyway. Alright, now we're going to go with another layer of the green. Don't mind my shaky table. I need to find a more stable table because apparently I'm a little too heavy-handed on this table. It's hard to find a sturdy table when you're crafting. So there, I was going to stop there, but I don't like the white showing through. So I'm going to add one more piece of this paper just to make it look less, I don't know, more concise. I guess is a word. That way everything looks like it's going in the same kind of texture. That looks better. All right, now you're saying, well, that looks like a hot mess. Don't worry about it. We're going to have some fun with this. All right, so I had colored the little piñata in the same colors and die cut it out. And I'm trying to, of course, I was going to try the green, but I decided I really do like this purple and white twine. It made it pop more. I feel like maybe the green looked more yellower than the green in the string. But the purple is almost dead on to that dark purple that's in the paper. So I'm going to adhere this twine with some foam tape on the back of this little piñata, and I just gotta lift it up. And I'm gonna put a little bow of some more twine in the front on the top of the piñata. So he looks like he's tied to the string. Some people say, well, maybe this isn't a piñata, maybe it's a donkey, but I think it's a piñata because it's got those little streamer tail versus kind of a normal donkey tail. All right, so I'm gonna make sure my bow's nice and tight, and I'm gonna try to knot these little ends because I always like to knot my twine so it doesn't fray. This one's a little harder for me to knot because it's moving around on me, so let me adhere this twine to the back of the card so it doesn't move around on me as much as I'm trying to tie this knot. That's better. All right, so there's that. So that's my little piñata card so far. So I heat embossed with white Recollections powder, the snow, birthday fiesta time, and then I've cut it out of the paper at an angle, and I'm going to slide it right underneath this piñata over some of that paper. Isn't that fun? But I did notice I was a little off, so I'm going to fussy cut that straight. Tie the bow a little straighter. There we go. And there's that panel. So I'm going to adhere this to a black cardstock card form, only because I feel like the black will really make the colors pop. This paper, and oops, the paper's tearing a little bit with my typewriter, but it's all right. We'll hold it down while I do this. Luckily, nobody sees the back of your panel. All right, and there's that. I am noticing I have a little bit of that paper showing on the bottom underneath the black, so I'm going to have to fix that. Yeah, fix that. We'll cut some more, just snip it. And there is that little card. And I'm not going to do any embellishments because that's enough right there. But I am going to have to put a sentiment inside. So I chose Let's Party, and I did it in the Bahama Blue. And I'm going to adhere that with some white paper inside of my card since I am putting this on a black card form. That way, oops, some of this twine got stuck on my roller. There we go. It's not coming back. All right, so we are going to just pull this down. Make sure I'm all ready, and I'm going to smooth this paper inside, and ta-da, a cute little fiesta birthday party card. Now for my last card for today, I am going to be doing this beautiful dancing mouse. I think she's just so pretty. And I've seen this card made with these little flower borders, made with the flowers being red and the dancer being in monotone, in shades of gray and monotone. I decided to go a little reversed. So you're going to see me stamping these rosebuds on both the top and the bottom of the card. So I'm going to flip my card and do it in a line. So each time I put the flower and move it over, I'm going to flip the card. That way I get two lines equidistant away from each other. Here I am trying to line it up. There we go. And I am just going to put these roses along there. And I'm doing this in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. All the images that I colored, I actually used my Ranger Archival ink, only because I feel it's more water safe. Would I say it's waterproof? So with the Arteza markers, I didn't want to take a chance of maybe the ink slightly bleeding. So I felt like that was more of a safer choice. But for this one, I decided to try out the Memento and see how it works, because I am going to actually be bringing out some of my Arteza pens and using them again to shade these roses. And as you see, like I said, I'm flipping as I go. It's a great way if you're doing two lines on the top and the bottom to get them equidistant without having to move your stamp 100 million times. So here I am stamping it. We're almost getting through this. I'm going to probably end up putting 2 more roses. I'm going to line that up as close as I can. Put my magnet down. All right, and now we're getting closer. Now I'm going to have to move it over a little bit because the stamp is going to overlap the paper a little bit. So the best way is to move it over a little bit and just line it up. And that's okay. The roses can go over the paper a little bit. It's not a biggie. And I'm going to try to line up my paper again. Oops, I was a little off. There we go. And I'm going to stamp that. Now these are pretty just by themselves, but like I said, I'm going to bring out the monotone. So I got 3 colors of the grays in my Arteza ink, in my Arteza actually ink pens. And I'm going to start shading these in. So I'm starting with the darkest gray that I'm going to use from it, and I'm going to go down into the lightest. And I'm just going to shade these flowers. I have found coloring sometimes with these. I mean, you can do it from lightest to darkest, but sometimes when you're trying to get a nice blend, it's nice to get from darkest to lightest because then you can blend it all over the top with the lightest color and it really blends it really well. But it's all trial and error. You can do it either way. And I just noticed I picked up the wrong one. Whoopsie. But that's all right. We'll just shade over with the light one and lighten it all up. There we go. Now, for the sake of time, I colored these off camera. That way you didn't have to sit there and watch me color every single rose. And it actually worked really good with the Memento ink too. So anybody who's looking for inks they can stamp with and color with the Artezas, the Memento does work also well too. And I just stamped Balaminos inside the card in black Memento ink. And I'm using a red card form that sort of matches her dress. And I heat emboss your One Hot Mama in the Hero Art silver embossing powder. I felt the silver really went well with the monotone grays versus the white in this one. So I am going to cut that out at a diagonal again. And there you can see the sentiment once more. I'm trying to get all my stuff together. I did realize that I cut my panel a little wide, so I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. And I also got some craft foam ready to raise my card. I was hoping I had some red left, but I was clear out of red, so I went for a bright pink. Not my favorite choice, but it will work. Nobody will see it underneath. All right, so I'm going to adhere that card form to that craft foam. And now I'm going to adhere it to my card. There we go. And I'm going to add the One Hot Mama with some regular adhesive. And I kind of wanted her to overlap. So I'm not going to be raising the Your One Hot Mama. I'm going to just adhere it to the card. Now the mouse, the little dancing mouse, she's going to get the Scotch foam adhesive. That way she's kind of dancing on top of it. Sometimes having monotone with some bright accents is fantastic, and this was one case where it was. All right, so these are some beautiful little red iridescent sequins. I'm going to actually be adding these to the shop. I bought a bunch of these little iridescent ones. They're really cute. I'm also working on getting some wonderful little mixes in color families for you guys, not just for adding to your cards, but also to your shaker cards. Because I know a lot of you people make shaker cards, and sometimes seed beads and other wonderful things are useful for shaker cards. So we're looking forward to probably adding those hopefully by this summer. So we'll see how fast that goes. But here we go, and I added those to it. Isn't that sweet? Includes our video. So please check out the last video we uploaded, as well as a video specially curated just for you. And if you like our videos, please click on our channel link here and make sure to like and subscribe or hit the bell notification to keep updated on future videos.